Polar bears dying, sea levels rising, and overpopulation, all of those things and then some have made scientists, manga artists, and Elon Musk realize one thing. Yo, Earth is about to go to shit one day. We need somewhere to go. And with that being said, if the last days of Earth look anything like how it did on that Sonic Adventure 1 cutscene, best believe I'ma find a way to get. So what is an answer or solution that all of these different groups of people have come to? Terraforming. Terraforming is to hypothetically modify another planet to the point where it can support and is suitable for human life. Terra Formars has an exciting spin on this concept, and if you have a 200 IQ like me, you can see all the play on words that the title of this show has. In the 21st century, to make Mars a livable planet for humans, scientists sent two things to the planet: algae and cockroaches. 500 years later, a small crew of 6, known as the Bugs 1 crew, is sent to the planet to survey it, only to be met by giant, mutated, humanoid cockroaches. These big ass cockroaches are known as Terra Formars, and before even getting the chance to set foot on the planet, the entire crew is wiped out, but not before being able to send one final transmission back to Earth. 22 years later, Earth begins their second expedition with the Bugs 2 crew. These guys are under the impression that they're collecting the same type of cockroaches that you see in your local high school cafeteria, and they couldn't be more wrong.
Hello, nice to meet you. 話せるのかな?
This is where the story really begins to kick in and shine. The story has these groups of people from different nations, cultures, and ethnicities undergo this surgery in which they are genetically modified to be able to transform into human insect warriors. This concept, along with the premise of the story, really caught my attention and had me intrigued. Unfortunately, out of the 15 people sent, only 2 survive and are able to make it back to Earth. Skip again to another 20 years in the future and we have our third expedition and also the start of the anime. Yep, I said the start of the anime, but don't worry, I'll get more into this later on in the video. This time around, the third expedition is bigger and better. We now have 100 crew members, all from different nations and backgrounds just like before, but this time instead of just being able to turn into insects, they now have access to the powers of every animal under the face of the sun, and they also have a new set of missions. On Earth, a new virus has been spreading called the Kh.iwi virus. This thing has a 100% mortality rate. You get it? You're dead. You might as well just start apologizing to all the people you bullied in kindergarten because it's good game for your ass. The virus origins are from Mars and relate to terraformers, and as such, the Annex 1 crew are tasked with gathering live terraformers and cultivating virus samples in hopes of finding a cure for this disease. But wait, hold up. I know you guys are asking, why do the terraformers look like what Zachary from down the cul-de-sac thinks about when he hears the word black people? Allow me to explain. Contrary to what many people thought while the manga was publishing and the show airing, Terraformers' designs take inspiration from our human ancestor, the Homo erectus, and after taking a look into it, I can say that I see the resemblances. But before boring you to death, I want to talk about all the cool things I liked about Terra Formars. First off, the concept really caught my attention off the bat. With how crazy off the wall it sounds, it's really something that can only work in an anime, despite there being a live action adaptation that just looks disgusting. The show reminds me of something that you'd catch late night as a kid on Adult Swim while your parents thought you were sleeping. The anime is based off a seinen manga, so as a result we get a lot of mature content. There's a lot of badass, bloody, gory battles that happen back to back to back to back. It's freaking gang violence on Mars out here. There's some dope abilities from animals you never even knew existed, and I can appreciate the jokes and tone of comedy used. On top of all this stuff, you get some cool characters too. Y'all talking about waifus? Wait till you see the big buff Ant Queen Michelle K. Davis. Y'all talking about OGs? Wait till you see the OG Shikutomoto, one of the only 2 survivors from the Bugs 2 expedition, so you know he's certified. Then you have the main protagonist, Akari Hizumaru, who isn't the most original main protagonist, but he has these kick-ass badass fights to him. Not only does he have these cool fights, but he also uses strategy and flair to win some of them. And I never thought I would be able to say that I like a guy named Adolf until I watched this show. Adolf Reinhardt adds a whole nother dimension to the show while also reinforcing the mature aspects of it too. Adolf was this kid that was experimented on and left with all these scars and wounds that made him look just a little bit scary, and as a result he was avoided and pretty much ostracized until he meets his college sweetheart, which he later marries, only for it to turn out to be a cheating, gold digging dot that gives birth to a child that's not even his. Add on top of all of this stuff that he has one of the most compelling fights in the show, it was inevitable that he would become a fan favorite. And then you had the terraformers themselves, who, dare I say, actually kind of work. Terraformers are these big monstrous things that add suspense and horror to the show, and I was honestly surprised with how much they were able to do. With each episode, my expectations of what they're able to do was surpassed. Like, yo, is homie driving right now? Did they just catch these guys in the net? Did this roach just see who his other roach homie when and where to shoot rockets and missiles to catch these guys slipping? And regarding the terraformers, there's a whole bunch of CGI that's used with them from time to time, especially when there's a whole bunch of them on the screen, but I feel like this actually kind of works. The terraformers are supposed to be jarring and just to look at, and the CGI kind of helps in that department. And even if you're not a fan of this CGI and the other uses of CGI within the show, it's definitely something that you will be able to get used to. Segueing to how the show looks in general, the animation ranges between decent and good. There are some noticeable drops of quality within the show. The animation isn't anything exactly over the top, but at the same time it isn't anything bad either. I'm really digging this show's use of colors and aesthetics. There's this nice use of visual effects throughout it that made it really stick out to me, although at times it could be a little bit too much. Oh shit bro, we did it, you artistic, you got it, damn. Going deeper though, Terraformers was not without its problems. While airing, the show faced heavy censorship, which it was criticized for. Throughout this video, I've been using uncensored footage, but here are some instances of the crusty censorship job implemented while airing. Guaz here, hopping out the time machine like Trunks. While working on this video, I didn't have much to put under this sequence, and I didn't just want to put music because I felt like that would have been whack, so you guys get to hear my voice for just a little bit longer. As for the censorship, I mean, you gotta see for yourselves. Looks like they put this bad boy in Microsoft Paint, clocked out of work, and called it a day. As for the video, we're gonna proceed like this never even happened. We never had this talk. Poof. And remember all that great good stuff I said about the Bugs 1 and the Bugs 2 crew? Well, the anime doesn't show any of that. Instead, it goes headfirst into following the NX1 crew's expedition, skipping through the prologue of the manga. And although there was a 2-episode OVA made which follows the Bugs 2 expedition, that didn't finish premiering until the anime was over halfway done. I feel like if these OVA episodes aired earlier, or even better if they were actually adapted into the anime, audiences while heading into the show would have been given more context, which brings me on to my next point. There's a whole lot of exposition and talking going on throughout the show, and I feel like if the prologue was actually adapted into the show, that some of this stuff could have been avoided. All of this exposition and dialogue get in the way of the action, affect the pacing, and even the terraformers themselves don't want to hear this shit. I came here to watch giant big bulky cockroaches get their heads split in two and get tortured a little bit. I don't give a damn what this guy got to say. Does he not know that he's nothing but a damn side character? Terra Formars definitely had its fair share of problems, but all of the factors that I mentioned earlier in the video were enough for me to look past them. Hell, a second season could have even fixed those problems and some that I didn't even mention if handled properly. So season 2 of Terra Formars finally comes out, and what the fuck is up with this movie shit? Season 2 of Terra Formars took all the good features of season 1, dribbled it in between its legs, hit a step back, and shot that thing in a trash bin. There's now a major downgrade to the character designs and art style. Everybody just looks generic and synthetic. The animation takes a hit, and there's all of these shonen aspects added to the show that really just don't fit. And although there was a glimpse of fan service in the first season, the animation studio just went all out with it for this season. The anime is now bright and colorful, and overall just a less ambitious approach at adapting the source material. Although if you are a big fan of the first season for its story, its characters, or you just want more content, watching the first episode of the second season will allow you to know whether this will be right for you. Terra Formars is an anime that I came across years ago. The premise and action alone were enough to hold me over, but this anime definitely isn't for everybody. And upon making this video, I was honestly surprised with all the ratings and rep I saw this series got. So, should you watch Terra Formars? Well, if the idea of lots of gore and giant roach boss battles sound good to you, then yeah. But if anything that I mentioned earlier in the video irks you, then this show probably isn't for you. So you guys already know the deal. If you guys like the video, make sure to drop a like. If there's anything I said about Terra Formars that you agree with or disagree with, or think I just missed, let me know in the comment section below. If there's any other anime you want me to look into and make a video about, also drop that in the comments. And you already made it here this far, might as well subscribe to see more dope videos from me. But that's all for this video. I'm about to... Ayy.